Hello, nice to meet you, and I'm happy that you are watching this video. My name is Frank Blomeyer. I'm working for many years in the field of biological medicine, and one topic what's very interesting to me is drinking water. Drinking water is so essential for our biological well-being, for our health, that I would like to invite you to a journey to discover what's about water. I've prepared a short presentation and I would like to join you now through this presentation. What do you need to know about drinking water, and why is this so important for you and for your family as well? Our body is such a famous construction, and the facts about human being and water are as well so interesting. We consist out of 70% of water. That means we are more than half of our body is built by water. Within our body, there are nearly 50,000 miles of pipes that carrying water or water-like substances. Our body has 70 trillion cells, and these cells are in need of water to be served and can live. Water is the operating fluid number one for our body, and every day we need fresh water to supply our cells. Water is, you can say, water is vital for us. The most important aspects of water concerning our health are that we adjust our body temperature by using water, involved in the creation of the cell energy. Water is important for our metabolism, especially for the acid balance. Water is also an information carrier. That's important, especially in the biological medicine. Homeopathy is informational medicine, also the modern bioresonance. There are informations which have to be carried in our body, and therefore we need water. Water is important for the supply of our cells with fluid, but also as a carrier for these substances, vitamins, minerals, amino acids. All these substances have to be carried by water. And also, water is responsible for the detoxification and the clearance of our body. Water, you can say, is the only solvent and transportation means for the whole metabolism. But let's have a closer look onto the physical aspects of water. As you see in this picture, water has a special structure. And this structure is a sign for high purity, is a sign for being natural, is the sign for plenty of energy, which is contained in water. And also, what's very important if we speak about natural water is that there was no auxiliaries added to water. If you go back 200 years in our history, we have a completely different water in these times compared with today. Water is also neutral in the case of pH. That means it is neither basic or acid. It's neutral. And that's also very important for us. And it's highly adaptable. It can fit into every functions our body needs. If you now, if we now have a short view on the importance of water in the drinking aspects, we have two different points we have to think about. The first point is the quantity. 5% of the fluid in our body has to be excreted daily for a healthy metabolism. 5%. We can say to give our body the opportunity of a healthy metabolism, we should drink minimum 2 liters of pure water per day. And the second aspect is the quality of water. Tap water is one possibility, bottled water is the other possibility, and spring water is the third. And there are big differences. Spring water today often is the best solution because spring water is closest to that what was water 200 years ago. If you have a look to the newspapers, you will find many informations about problems with the water. Chlorine is in tap water often used to make it healthy, to prevent for bacteria and viruses. Contamination is a big problem also with residuals from medicals. There is another aspect here, fertility time bomb, or chlorine we have just spoken about. We can say that water is contaminated with lots of different particles, with lots of substances, and our body has to clean this water. Our body is at least a filtering machine if we don't take care for drinking pure water. And another aspect is that plastic, microplastic, is one of the most problematic substances in water today. We have a very interesting movie you can see on YouTube still today. It's Plastic Planet. Plastic pollution is one of the severest problems concerning our environment. And here you can see how many plastic particles we have worldwide. 83% plastic fibers in tap water. In the USA, it's a bit more. In Europe, it's a bit less. And there is another very interesting research work done by the WWF. And there comes out a result what to me very, very astonishing. Drinking water is the highest source of microplastics which we get into our body. The water is you can say that drinking water is the door which brings the plastic pollution into our body, into our cells. Now we will change to a completely other aspect. Let's talk about minerals. Many people think, and even doctors are pretending that this is a valuable idea to drink mineral water to supply your body with minerals, but that's a mistake. We have two completely different kinds of minerals. One part are these minerals taken from stones. They are inorganic, and the others are minerals from food, from plants, from fruits. These are organic minerals. Our body is not able, or is only able to use minerals we get from stones, from inorganic sources, about 10%, whereas minerals from fruits and from plants we can use to about 90%. That's a very, very important difference. So it is not the best solution to drink mineral water with lots of minerals, because our body cannot provide these minerals for our cells, for their well-being. What does scientists say about pure, pristine water? I have chosen one video you can also find in the internet, where this important aspect is explained very clearly, to my opinion.
I think detoxification is a really interesting area, because our bodies are continually detoxifying from foods and drinks that we take on board. So, for example, alcohol is a toxin. Your body has to get rid of alcohol, and the way it does that is within the liver. It metabolizes it basically into fat, which then gets stored away. When you're thinking about water, if you can drink pure water that hasn't got an additional chemical load, what you're doing is reducing the body's need to get rid of or manage those toxins. So it's reducing the stress in the system, allowing it then to cope with other things. And this is particularly important if somebody's under a lot of stress. And that stress might come from physical stress, so if they're doing sport or exercise, or it can come from stress because they're unwell. So if you've got someone who's unwell, then the body's fighting a bacterial or viral infection and so forth, and it's trying to get through that. What you don't want to do is then load additional stresses into the body. So you wouldn't, for example, think about going out and having a lot to drink on a night where you felt unwell and you felt like you're coming down with flu. You wouldn't do that. And similarly, I think that when you're drinking, we forget that the chemical load within most of the waters we drink is quite high, and your body has to get rid of that. So one of the things you're doing is really just reducing the stress in your system by avoiding adding in additional chemicals which might be in waters that you might otherwise drink. When you drink pure H2O, you don't get any of those other chemicals into your body. As a consequence, the whole stress in your system is reduced.
So that's also an important aspect, that we need pure water. That means even if there are added any healthy substances to the water, it is a problem, and that depends on the osmosis. Osmosis works like that. If you have in the one side this blue, clean, pure water, and on the other side of this picture you see salt solution, highly concentrated, and in between these two fluids we have a semi-permeable membrane. That means this membrane only lets part through the water, the pure water, but no water with any substances added. And if you wait for a bit of time, you will see that something interesting happens. The water goes through this semi-permeable membrane, and it goes to the site where is the higher concentration of substances. And that's really what's going on in our body. Here you see a body cell in the midst, and this body cell has about 130 microsiemens, and tap water in average, if you measure it in several different parts of this world, has more than 500 microsiemens, 1000 microsiemens, maybe even more. That means, concerning to the osmosis, that if the higher concentration, let's see here in example A, 500 microsiemens in the tap water, this tap water will extract water out of our cells and will not support our cells, because this water cannot come into the cell because of the higher concentration of substances. That's what we learn from osmosis. We need water that's in an area of less than 100 microsiemens, that is pure, pristine water which perfect for the transportation purpose in our body. I often compare this with a bus. If you are standing at the bus stop and the bus is arriving and the doors open and you look into this bus and you see there are 100 persons who can be transported with this bus, but when the bus arrives at the bus stop, you see there are still more than 90 persons sitting and standing in this bus. So you are not able to join and to go with this bus. And that's the same what happens in our body. If there are substances added to the water, and it doesn't make any difference if these substances are bad chemicals or healthy substances as vitamins and minerals, it only is a question of the loading. How many loading has the water? And that's important, that this loading, a measure for this load is the microsiemens, that this load is less than 100 microsiemens, because as osmosis told us, this water, as you see from the green arrows here, this water can go into the cell because the load of the water is less than the load within the cell. Okay, let's go further on. We spoke about drinking water 200 years ago, this perfect pristine water, which was found nearly everywhere in the nature. We don't have this water today. Even we spoke about plastics, even microplastic is found in spring water today, is found even in glaciers in the Alps. The glaciers are carrying microplastic. That's awful, really awful. So today we need to treat our water to become a water which is perfect for our body. And there are different possibilities how we can treat water. Three aspects are important for our water. The first we spoke about is the purity. Purity of water can be done by distillation or a modern possibility to treat the water is the reverse osmosis. The next important aspect is the structure. Water has a structure. The water atoms and molecules are structured in a special way when the water is healthy water. You can see it. I will show you later some pictures. And the third aspect is or let's stick to the structure. One very famous possibility to bring structure into water is done by Johann Grander. It's an Austrian man who lives about 1970 and has lots of research work done to water structure. Water revitalization is one of his fields he worked with, and Granda water is still very famous today all over the world, you can say. And another name, it's a Japanese doctor, Dr. Emoto, who has created the possibility to make this structure visible. You see water in a healthy, energetic state will always look like a star. It looks like snow. Snow has this special this special site you see here in this picture. Emoto lives about the 19th, and he has these ice needles make visible by shock freezing water. And this water looking like snow is this water with a hexagonal structure. This hexagonal structure is a very important sign for pristine, clear, and highly energetic water. And the energy of water is also another aspect which is done a lot of work by Schauberger, also an Austrian man, not a scientific working man, but a man who has lots of nature aspects, and he only watches what's going on with water in nature, and he saw how nature treats water when it flows around stones in the water spring fields, and in the water is running in nature around these stones, and this gives energy to the water. And he lives about the 50s, and he has the vortex water technology, and this vortex is another important point for highly healthy and energy-full water. So you can say, to become, water has to be treated in these three different aspects. It has to be purified, it has to be structured, and it has to be energized. Then you have this water you need. You need for well-being, you need for a healthy body, and you need for lots of energy which is produced by water in your body cells. Quality of water is visible. That's what Emoto has shown. And you see here on the left side thousands of years old Arctic ice water, and the other picture is spa water from the spring of Lourdes. And on the right-hand side, you see two water qualities of Japanese rivers, the Fujiwara Dam and the Yodo River, and the treatment of the water was the same. This shock frozen method Emoto has created, and you see healthy water always has this hexagonal structure, and water which is contaminated with chemicals, with these problematic substances we have in our nature today, it's looking worse, it's looking bad, it doesn't get into any structure. What about the quality of my drinking water? Yes, that's an important question. How can we prove what's about my water? And we have two very simple possibilities. The first is a measuring instrument which shows the microsiemens. Microsiemens is an electrical conductive substance. It's shown how many electrical conductive substances in the water. And the other is a fluid which shows by coagulation substances that do not conduct electricity. With these two simple treatments of water, with research of water, we can show if water is in a good shape, if water is healthy for our body or not. It's very easy to do, because if you look onto water with labor parameters, you have lots of chemicals, and you have to know in advance which kind of chemicals are in the water, because you have to know what you are searching for to find it. These simple two possibilities I show you here are working without any idea. You do not need to have any idea what is in the water. These possibilities only show you the load of chemicals, the load of substances in the water, even these minerals. What conclusion do you draw out of this presentation? What are now your ideas? I would really like to keep in contact, and I would answer your questions. Maybe there are some questions coming up now. And here you have one, before we end our presentation, I would like to recommend a book to you. It's from Dr. Batman Delic, an iron doctor. He has a very interesting title for his book. You are not sick, you are thirsty. And he shows how important healthy water is for preventing our diseases, these civilization-dependent diseases so many people today suffers from. And this book shows a lot of interesting aspects of this combination from drinking water and diseases in our body. Yes, thank you for your attention. As I said, I would really like to keep in contact. For further information, you can contact me. Here are all the possibilities, my phone number, or you can also visit me on Facebook. And I hope we'll hear each other and we can discuss these very interesting topics further on. Thank you for joining me today, and all the best for you. Bye-bye.